Welcome back, folks, to our Pick Your Poison tournament coverage. Today we're looking at Group H. The event is organized by Daniela, Comey, and the rest of the staff. So big shout out to them as always for organizing everything here. And we'll be looking at the matchup between two players that have been showcased on this casting stream before, namely SilverPython and thewimpyfish. So let's see how their round 2 matchup in Group H ended up going. These here are the drafts. We see Golden Swamp as the first game map. Always a welcome sight here on this stream. But also we've got Arabia as one of the home maps, which I'm familiar with, and Islands as Wimpyfish's map, which, well, it's certainly one of the maps of all time. Then, let's go into it, shall we? It looks like we're gonna have Vietnamese versus Chinese here in... Oh no, that was a mistake actually in the draft. You can see there. Maybe some confusion there, but it's not actually Vietnamese versus Chinese. There's two Vietnamese and... Oh, it's just the same draft on both sides. Okay, this ended up going pretty weird. Either way, the first matchup here is going to be Chinese versus Byzantines. A very weird draft image there. I'm not sure what happened there. Hopefully there was no confusion during the actual games. So, hello guys. Here we go. Let's jump straight into the fun. We've got Chinese against Byzantines on Golden Swamp. And we'll see how it plays out. I say, let's just jump into the Civ overviews first. Right out of the gate, we've got Chinese, who have not been picked a lot in this tournament. Possibly because it is not the most beginner-friendly Civ, and I'm mainly casting, of course, the lower elo matches here, so Chinese maybe not the first choice for most of these players. Wimpyfish is going to try their luck with them, though, so maybe we can see a good performance there. So far, I guess, it's looking fine. Not a lot of idle town center time, but still trying to get that food economy to run a bit more smoothly. And we see there half a minute actually already. Still though, of course, as you see there with the bonuses, 3 extra villager start is why Wimpyfish is nonetheless a little bit ahead of their opponent right now. That being said, another couple of seconds there of idle time. So a bit of a rocky start maybe to this series here in round 2. For the underdog here, 10th seed as we see at the top against SilverPython's 2nd seed. The favorites role is definitely clearly established in this one. To round out the Chinese overview, we got some other interesting stuff there, such as cheaper technologies all across the board, which is, well, just plainly said, useful in every age, in every game, no matter what the strategy that you're going for. So very consistent bonus there. Extra HP on the demos, maybe we're gonna see some big booms here. I don't anticipate it though. And of course, well known for their archer play, mainly with the Chokunu. Yep, that's Chinese in a nutshell for you. More food on the farms is also just a nice little quality of life thing that makes your economy, especially your wood, a little bit more worthwhile of an investment. So let's head on over to the Byzantines, as if that we've seen also quite a lot, possibly because just like the Italians, as I established yesterday, I think people are picking them because they are really decent on a lot of different types of maps. You're fine with them on Arabia, you're fine with them in most water or hybrid maps, so for this type of tournament where the opponent chooses where you have to play each civ, it's actually maybe not a bad choice to go for something as flexible as the Byzantines. Hello there in chat, SilverPython, good to see you again. I'll see if you, as the 2nd seed, will have more luck in your 2nd round than I did. But let's maybe not talk about that. Byzantines, well known for the cheaper uptime there to Imp, and for the extra building HP, but of course also very strong fire ships, so that might be pretty intimidating there for Wimpyfish. If I'm up against Byzantines, I'm definitely not committing a lot onto water. on this map, because it's simply not worth it to go for huge water fights on this map that has 2,000 fish, 2,500. Yeah, look at this. That's like 2,200 fish in total on this map. You don't want to go all out water battles with huge galley armies, so probably better to not invest a whole lot into water when you're up against the Byzantines. Okay, SilverPython saying wimpyfish did not scout their boars. That's an interesting observation. Let's check. Oh, that seems to be true. Oh, that's super weird. If I'm wimpy here, I'm thinking, hold on a second. Did I get lamed? Did I get double lamed? Or maybe he just forgot about them as well. It shouldn't be huge trouble. He's already pushing the deer, so I don't think he really needs them super bad. On the other side, though, we see SilverPython already having eaten both of their boars. So, yeah, I guess fine with that. Having lost that scout to the town center should hurt in the short term at least, because, man, it's always really good to know on this map if you know how many docks the enemy has, how many fishing ships they actually invested in, if they're going for any feudal aggression, if they're walling up to get to Castle Age quickly. We've seen everything on this map, so I think the scout is really valuable here in the early game. It definitely hurts to lose out on that. Boars always in front on Golden Swamp. Yeah, 99% of the time. I've had a game where they actually were not, which is super weird. But yeah, I had that. I think it might have been the 1v1s that I played on stream. It might have been a tournament game as well. But yeah, I also expect them to always be on the front, but once in a blue moon, they end up not being there for some reason. Either way, Feudal Age is on the way for the wimpyfish now as well. Not having eaten any boars maybe could have delayed them a bit. We see SilverPython up a bit faster, and with 24 villages against the Chinese's 27. So, of course, that's not villages, that's eco numbers. So I should more accurately say we've got 20 villager Feudal Age against a 24 one for the Chinese. So, and no super crazy Feudal Age timings, but you can definitely see the difference there, right? I mean, Chinese with the extra 3 villagers from the start, but still choosing to remain a little bit longer. In the Dark Kitchen, going for a very conservative house wall here. If I may critique the architecture here or the city planning, I really like the uniformity here between all these houses. It's just one of them that is turned the wrong direction here. Sadly, that's all going to get messed up in Feudal Age anyways, so at least, yeah, won't matter for that much longer. So we see interesting double dock play for SilverPython, having chosen dock in the middle. We've seen this very rarely on this map before, actually, and so let's see what that'll end up meaning. It's actually wimpyfish who puts up a second dock, and again, I think you might already be over-investing into water here as the wimpyfish. I'm not sure you really want to pick this fight if you're up against Byzantines with a slower uptime nonetheless. How many galleys are you going to be able to stack, really, is the question, as the opponent has already got those fire ships on the way. I'll be curious and see how wimpyfish is going to play this naval. Maybe the scout there, in addition, can help out a bit and make life a bit harder for wimpyfish, who is now beginning to harass the fishing economy. Oh, very interesting. SilverPython saying they actually scouted the cast that I made of wimpyfish in round 1 on this very map, and thus had a good idea of the strategy. Is that so? Was wimpyfish playing as the Chinese as well in round 1? I don't actually remember. There was a lot of round 1 matches that I've covered and on this map as well. But that's always cool to hear that these casts actually serve some purpose for people. And I can't say that I myself haven't learned anything here, so it's been a really worthwhile experience going over these games. So we'll see. It was Burmese against Poles and went for FC Boom. Maybe that's what we're expecting here as well from the Chinese, but I can say this is, again, a surprisingly high investment onto water against the Byzantines with the stronger fire ships. And the fishing ships are nonetheless just being given up because the galley numbers just aren't there yet. And I wonder if this really is the play for Wimpy Fish. The dogs also taking considerable damage already. Alright, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm loving this spot for Wimpy Fish, quite frankly. Horse collar on the way for Python as well. Interesting. I would have thought maybe having all the sea for themselves, SilverPython would have delayed the farming eco by a bit and actually relied a bit more on water. Not adding any more than the 4 fishing ships they already have, it would seem though. And still getting another fire ship or 2 maybe to just solidify the control over the water. But then again, Wimpy Fish repairing those docks and having the flags show up here gives SilverPython a really good indication that, man, he's actually building stuff up in there and he doesn't want to just have those docks go down. Out come the galleys, and we'll see how good this trade is going to be. I think he might have been a bit premature on this one, Wimpy Fish. I don't think it's going to be a great trade in the long run. If all these galleys die, it's absolute horror, the amount of resources that he's losing here. Oh, why are we repairing the docks if we then just pop out of there anyways? Could have built up to 20 galleys in there before being forced to leave. Instead, ejects early and comes to regret it here, I'm pretty sure. Those galleys are now being chased around the town and there's not a lot of room to flee to, so his early game has turned quite sour there for the Chinese player. Oh, I wonder where they go from here. The walls here from the houses at least protecting them somewhat, but eco-wise they aren't really in a great spot. Only 1 villager ahead of the Byzantines, and on the water it's really been a tough battle here. Maybe can get a few hits in on the enemy fishing ships. That could be some damage that might stick, but ships are moved out of the harm's way here just in time. Good awareness by SilverPython, and yeah, it's only a matter of time. 100 combined HP on those 4 ships, and good wrap around here cuts them off, and that's going to all the galleys sinking. Oh man, what a rough look. This guy, man, oh man, he's working overtime. I think it's in town center range, so could maybe just garrison and shoot him down there. Nonetheless, water seems to be given up at this point by the Chinese, and you really have to wonder what the plan was there. Did they maybe expect Python to get lazy and not build up as many fire ships? I think building the second dock there definitely made that very unlikely. If I'm Python, I'm definitely building up a healthy little navy if I see the opponent go double dock. And thus, yeah, I gotta call into question a little bit the strategic decisions there by Wimpy Fish. Now behind to Castle Age by a long shot, and not even with a real villager lead. So I think SilverPython is loving the spot that they're in this one currently, and they bring forward the Siege Workshop immediately. That's a good read on the game stage. We've rarely seen this. We've actually seen more often than not people going for triple TC or for a castle sort of in the middle or something like that. But I like the choice here, honestly. Adding a second TC to slowly start building up that eco lead, but also bringing forward the boys. Well, actually, not as much of a masculine boy as I would have expected. But of course, you still need some army behind this. Let's see what Python is going to add as a front line here. Classic Manganon Persia is what I'm expecting. Chinese, of course, known for their archers. Now putting up those Chinese walls. So famed. But I wonder how long they're really going to be of value here protecting against the push that is about to commence. We've got the stable for the Byzantines as well. Alright, that should give us some indication of what we're looking at here. And those houses are literally melting in the Greek fire. Oh man, you hate to see it. At least he's got enough of them so that he's not going to get housed just by those few going down. But it's still a rough spot to be in. At least they managed to use the market a bit, I think, and get up there on the way to Castle Age. But look at this food production. You've got 11 farms only. You've got a lot of stone, so I think Wimpy Fish is hoping that some castles can buy themselves the space here that is required for a healthy eco to carry them into the late game. Not that confident that that's actually going to end up being possible, but second town center now being added. Are we going 4 TCs? Alright, it looks like we are. I don't think this is viable. With all due respect. This is... Okay, we're going 5 town centers. Oh, was WimpyFish the person with the 5-6 town center Burmese player, whatever it was? Oh boy. Oh my man. I don't think it's viable here. I think in the last game it was very much a viable decision, if not... oh yeah, despite not being necessary, I don't think. But in this one here, you don't have any food eco. And you're giving up space, so your food eco can't grow anyways. So what are we booming into, or what are we booming with here? I don't think it's a viable play. I thought maybe dropping 1 or 2 castles on the main golds here, on the stone as well, and adding 1 town center at best could have been an idea, but here we're just adding town centers for the fun of it. And knights and mangonels are completely going to wreck this eco for the Chinese. I don't think this is a viable way of playing this map here, if you're behind like this from the get-go. Rhino is not taken as you said here. Man, that town center is going to go down. Oh, really bit short-sighted there, going for those for this many TCs. At least wins out on the mangonel trade here, was nicely done. But that knight, I think, got a very different things in mind here. Storms in, can't even garrison the town, the town folk here to fend off the knight. So this is gotta be it. He can't garrison. He writes in chat, yeah, you can't, because that thing is on 0 HP. Oh, I think he just realized as well. Poor guy. Poor guy. I think that's it though for them. I mean, they've got the town centers, but they don't have any villagers to build, or any food to build villages with. Now is the castle on the way, but bit late there. Can't lie, bit late. Over here the villagers actually do have the protection of their town centers, so maybe gotta be a bit more careful with the knight, but the mangonel push continues and still 0 military for WimpyFish. The mangonel, yeah, is gone and no more gold right now for adding another one. That's real difficult, my man. We're not putting a mill right here, are we? Okay. WimpyFish seems a bit desperate here, can't lie. This looks certainly difficult to come back from. Let's just say that. 30C has meanwhile been added at home for SilverPython. Completely fine with this game state. Eco getting further and further ahead. And it's now 16 farms for the Chinese, so I guess they're slowly getting to a point where they can produce villages, but they just have nothing at all against this push. So as long as SilverPython doesn't stop pushing here, they should be in a good spot. Castle is given some trouble for now, but yeah, you can just take the entire east side here, and there's not enough stone to go for more castles at this point. Again, the 2 castle approach I think would have been a bit more viable for the Chinese. Again, getting a good trade with the mangonels though. Maybe Python gotta pay a bit more attention there, able to pull out of the inner circle of the blast radius at least, but wanna hang on those mangonels so that you're actually able to yeah, not invest as much into military here. You don't want to go like 40 knights at this point. I think what you want to do is have like 10 knights, have a few mangonels, and then slowly get your way up to Imp and a forward castle for some trebuchets. I think that's the long-term plan, if WimpyFish doesn't end up folding before that. Mangonel shot, ooh, that was a real close one to actually killing there, but another good trade for WimpyFish. Oh, just barely doesn't get the conversion there on the knight. More monks end up coming out, so I guess the gold is carrying them somehow. For now, no redemption though, I don't think so. I'm not sure we want this smoke, guys. I'm really not sure about this. Get the mangonel emotes out, guys. Oh boy. That is is rough kind of sequence there. Looked like a good trade at first. Maybe getting a conversion here, and he does. So those are big, and the deletion actually ends up having to come through. So SilverPython not the most responsible with their units currently, and struggling a bit to make a dent with those mangonels after taking out the initial town center. Wimpyfish has actually stabilized a bit here, and the eco numbers are at least converging a bit now. The real issue is just that Python is now up to Imp, not on stone yet, so we're not looking at any forward castles, at least not yet. No trebuchets going to be unpacked here in the near future. But all those knights going over, man, it's really just a bit too careless from the Byzantines there. Ends up having to delete another one or two. Might have actually also researched. Oh god, what is it? Heresy? Ah. I'm not that good with the monk tag names. I'm sorry. You know what I mean though. Maybe got the relevant tag. I think those were deletions though probably. And loses another mangonel here. That's why you don't want to be giving over those knights. You don't even have any counter units for them. It's a bit dangerous here. And the second castle actually ends up coming through for Wimpyfish. I gotta say, he's played this boom much better than most players at this elo would have. He's definitely got a pretty clear game plan in mind here and is really getting maximum value out of those investments on defense. This has gotta hurt. Castle taking a lot of free damage here from the fire ships. It doesn't look like a lot, but of course, once that goes up, the ships won't be able to hit it anymore at all. So getting that early damage in is only gonna be nice. Gotta really start pulling back now. I guess it's just willing to give up all those fire ships. Fair enough. Up goes the castle though, and that's a bit more space for the Chinese to actually farm in and have eco now. Okay. Not that bad, man. Really, Wimpyfish, I didn't think this was going to be a viable approach. But has weathered the storm of this push quite nicely, despite being completely open here on multiple sides for a while. And losing that one town center there, a few villages as well. I mean, the Eco KD is 11-2 for SilverPython. But we're now at exact same numbers here in terms of Eco. With Python having 10 of those being fishing ships that aren't actually all that efficient. And in Imperial Age, but with no castle just yet. Let's see how they're going to approach this. A fifth town center here in the middle. I'm not sure we need this per se. I feel like maybe at this point it could just drop some mining camps as well. But I guess once the safety of being able to garrison too, so I don't mind it. I just think we really want a castle sometime soon here. Because this way we're not going to be able to use our imp timing advantage at all. So maybe that is something you could have maybe considered. Either way, gets onto the middle now and is able to start mining gold there, which is of course a big advantage. But so far it's still fine for the Chinese. They still have plenty of res in their base. And thus, this might turn into a bit of a longer siege here with Wimpyfish also about to hit the Imperial Age and Chinese late game there. Definitely a threat. Running out of stone though. I think this was the last stone that they had in their base. I'm just trying to look around if I missed anything, but I think that was it. Maybe that's gonna be a bit problematic once the trap wars start coming out. Not having a lot of stone could be an issue. Doing a good job with the outposts though, trying to take more space on this map. Maybe looking for those extra stones that do exist. But in comes the castle for SilverPython, and trebuchet production is going to start for both these guys at roughly the same time. Army-wise, we've got full light calf at this point for SilverPython. I guess just trying to get some raiding done. On the other side though, the Shokunu, the mangonels really... I was gonna say doing a good job against the light calf, but actually the lack of micro here makes this a bit iffy. Still gonna be a winning fight, but having lost the mangonel maybe tastes a bit sour. Up to imp is China now though, and maybe realizes a bit late that walls would have been a decent idea. Light cap raid started. Luckily for Wimpyfish, there was not a lot of light cap that actually ended up getting in here, so the losses are going to be manageable, I feel. But it is definitely, it was avoidable here, and villager numbers go down by just a little bit. Still enough Chukano was safe though in order to be able to deal with this one. It doesn't look all that terrifying. To be honest, don't think Hussar are going to be the game ender here. As Python's able to locate another entrance to the base, able to get through the castle here and into the wood line. He's doing damage for sure, albeit not in huge numbers. And resource-wise, I think this is a trade the Chinese are quite okay with, although the losses here in the west are really a bit more concerning than I would have thought from the get-go. This is some good raiding here. No castle or town center protection for the middle over there in the very west, and the Chukanu may be a bit misdeployed here. Upgrades coming in for the Chinese. Remember, all these technologies are cheaper for them, and they are also going for some cavalry now, it would appear. Really struggling with cleaning up those light cavalry though, and I gotta call into question the choice not to go for any walls. And with all this hectic trading going on, they actually didn't end up queuing any trebuchets, perhaps thinking the opponent might not even have any, and not seeing any castles maybe was an indication that misled them to believe they were in a fine spot there defensively. You need some response for those trebuchets though. I don't think you can just repair this one up forever. As I pointed out before, there's no more stone for the Chinese here. They're going for a nice little side base here, able to flank the enemy perhaps sometime soon, but for the time being you really need an answer for the trebuchet. It's just 2 right now for SilverPython, and 1 isn't even built up. So maybe a bit concerning. At least Byzantines now with their own walls, which are also of course a bit tankier than normal. But yeah, you gotta stay disciplined here. You don't want to give up your traps for free, I don't think. And the side push is going to come in here. Free town watch, the Byzantines can see this. I wonder if SilverPython had the eyes over here, but you can see right there was vision. Free town watch for the Byzantine. Coming in clutch there. You gotta see if that was spotted or not, because the trades on the offense here are kind of a stalemate. You're getting good damage down on the castle, but you're losing a lot of light cav for it. Good choice to go into gates here. I think that raid was spotted, and that was crucial. Keeping the cavalier out of the eco. That could have been a game decider here. But luckily for SilverPython, paying attention there and finally getting that castle to go down. Chinese here, a bit caught off guard, and actually might have been better off using those cavalry to take out the enemy trebuchets after all. Of course, went for the big price of trying to get into the enemy eco, but that is going to backfire here. Losing all of their own traps, and suddenly it's starting to look a bit rough. You still have great eco there for the Chinese and a lot of potent army in the field, but so far the trades in Imp have not gone in their favor at all, I gotta say. SilverPython confirming in chat that they actually saw that raid, and bless the free Byzantine Town Watch. Maybe a good opportunity here to remind everybody to research Town Watch a bit earlier than you probably do routinely, because that can really save you games. Great example here. Still a big reliance here on Hussars for the Byzantines, which I'm not sure how I feel about. That is of course very cheap, but if you want to actually start pushing in, maybe you're gonna need to invest a bit more in some different types of units. And also wondering why we're going so hard on this. I think the trebuchets would have been a worthwhile target. Now the own trebuchets there for SilverPython are on attack, and this was a bit overeager there, trying to push in and losing all 3 traps here, probably not doing a whole lot of damage in the process to the enemy castle. Although actually I take that back. Half HP of the castle is a okay-ish trade. Problem is Chinese might just buy some stone and repair that thing back up if they're really serious about it. And Byzantines with the cheaper trash units, you can see now why what they've got in mind here. Skirmishers, camels, the discounts being used. They brought their vouchers and they're gonna cash them in here in the late game. Let's see if the Chinese have any answer for that, because that's what you're really scared of playing against Byzantines typically. I think those were a lot of cavalry here potentially going down. I'm not sure how many they actually ended up bringing. Might have just been a few. Either way, Good job again by Python, remaining steadfast at home. Good protection here. Disciplined walling. Gotta make sure not to overchop here and always take care of that, but you like to see the disciplined defensive play for the Byzantines, and slowly but surely making doing damage on offense is going to be good enough in order to win this one. Just gotta make sure that we stay fine here. I wonder why there's no pikemen though. I guess the camels do the job as well. I think the more cost-effective way would have been just going full trash here. Hussar, skirmishers, pikemen, I think could have gotten the job done with that as well against a Choconu Cavalier comp. Either way, was good enough. They did their homework, brought some good counter units, and in go the camels now. Maybe able to do some raiding, and that castle has also fallen. Now I think slowly but surely Wimpyfish is falling apart and calling the GG right here. Nicely played by SilverPython. This is actually probably going to be an underrated game by most players because it wasn't that dominant. Took quite a while to close out on offense. That Castle Age push was maybe a bit half-hearted or just not not the best trades there against enemy mangonels, and then later on with the knights against the monks as well. But I gotta say, people are probably gonna underrate this because the defense was never in question. At no point in the game were the Chinese ever able to damage SilverPython at home, and everything they did on offense was kind of just a bonus on top of that. It's not always as easy as that, but I hope you get what I'm saying, right? This was a more dominant game than I'd probably seen because it was never in danger on defense, and there was always an offensive game plan. The decisions that were made were largely the right ones, I feel, and they executed fine and slowly but surely won it through offense. But again, I don't think this was ever in doubt in the late game here, at least not a huge threat. All right. But that was a cool game one here in this series. Let's see. Oh, good to see you here, Phantom. In chat here again. What do you say Byzantines have it? What are we referring to here? Maybe I said something that prompted that, but I'm not sure. Okay. Let's get then over into game 2. What are we looking at there? It's going to be Wimpyfish's home map, which is islands. Okay. Do we have an islands game here? Oh, yes, we do. So that's got to be it. Okay, let's get right in there. I don't think we need to worry much. Just hop right in and see what awaits us. As the favorite here, second seed SilverPython is looking to close out the series in round 2 here on their opponent's home map, which is going to be islands. Mine's starting off here with Loom. They've got the strats, looking all good. And the other side, Italians for SilverPython, which is surprising of an island civ to actually be able to get. If we check the draft here, they had Italians, Byzantines, and Lithuanians, and I guess it was determined that Italians were the least intimidating on islands out of those. Curious choice here. Would have expected Lithuanians, to be honest. Although we saw yesterday, I think it was Hitman having a really good game with Lithuanians too on this map, so it's not always as easy as that, of course. So then, let's check out those Civ bonuses. Let's check out why I'm a bit skeptical about this Italians pick going through on islands, and start off with our Civ on the right here. Boom, there we go. It's Italians for SilverPython, one of the premier water civs, of course. We've seen them on islands and tournaments as well, so he's got to be pretty happy getting this one there. What do we have there that is so good for water maps? We've got cheaper advanced times, which, I mean, great. You can invest more res into water. Perfect. You've got cheaper university and dock tax. Perfect. Stronger water. You've got cheaper fishing ships. Perfect. You've got smoother water. Boom. And yeah, cheaper gunpowder, I guess, on top of that. Overall, pretty cool civ to be getting on islands in a tournament where you can't decide your own civs for each map. So, SilverPython has got to be the favorite in this one, both in terms of seeding as well as the civ matchup, despite this being their opponent's home map. So if Python has any idea of how to play water, I think this should be his game to lose. On the other side, the much less common water civ of the Mayans, which are generally considered a strong civ in the game, but typically maybe better suited for other types of maps. What do they have going for them though? They've got this amazing bonus of longer lasting resources, which is really cool. So you collect resources normally, but the number of the resource being on the map decreases slower than on any other civilization. So yay for them, right? That's just really nice, versatile bonus applying to all resources, so can't really go wrong with that. Cheaper archers is, that's kind of the thing, right? That's one of the main bonuses that you can make use of starting in Feudal Age. Going to be a bit difficult on this map though. Cheaper balls also, I guess, not helping that much on islands. Well, other than that, they start with that extra villager, so typically their eco is always a tad ahead of their opponent, and that is obviously going to help as well on this map right here. SilverPython in chat pointing out that the Mayan tech tree is actually quite fine for water maps, and or saying okay. I'm not sure what exactly okay means, but let's maybe have a look at that as well. If you look at the Mayans right there, what do we have? We've got Bracer, so that's nice. We've got the dock. Where is the dock though? Oh, there we go. Alright, we've got Fast Fire. We've got full demo line. We've got Galleon line. Alright, and all the techs here in the east as well. So, gotta agree, looks pretty fine. I'm not a water player myself, but I guess I couldn't complain if I was forced to play the Mayans. We've got the forward dock out of thewimpyfish, and on the other side, same thing for the Italians. Both of them going for one dock forward so far. Probably meaning fire ships out of both players. Traditionally, if you go for that forward dock, and both of them really on kind of the same pace here. We've got, in terms of villages, I mean. In terms of uptime, we have the Italians obviously with the much earlier one, mainly due to their bonus aforementioned there, where it's just cheaper to click up to the next stage, and thus SilverPython off to a decent start. 20 villagers, going to go for 4 fishing ships apparently, whereas Wimpyfish seems to be stopping at 3, and getting up to Feudal Age earlier means, of course, being able to start producing those fire ships earlier than the opponent. Let's see how that works out, and if Wimpyfish is able to withstand that. Are we gonna see a second dock soon here for either party? In terms of wood, it's looking a bit rough there. They're gonna need a bit more for being able to actually drop any more. I'll be interested to see how this goes. I didn't know Mayans were actually a capable water civ. In terms of tech tree and stuff, it does look fine, but Italian's bonus is certainly scary. Second dock coming out now for SilverPython. Mayans haven't currently been able to afford that and are only now clicking up to Feudal, a full 2 minutes after their opponent. There we go. SilverPython a progressé vers l'âge feudal, or however you pronounce that. Feudal, I don't know. That sounds a bit weird. Nonetheless, it's gonna be a bit difficult now. If I'm Wimpyfish, I'm thinking, alright, my opponent's gonna get to produce fire ships for 2 minutes earlier than me. What am I gonna be able to do about that? Answer is second dock on the way up to Feudal Age, as is kind of standard, and going on to gold now. So definitely trying to push back there on water. It's going to be difficult though, it really is. And we saw this yesterday. People relying heavily their huge water battles and in the process idling their town centers a bit. That's what you definitely got to avoid here if you're the Mayans. Actually, Yeah, they're built almost reminding me of a type of fast castle, but of course that's not what they're going for. As we've got the third dock coming out right now, and they gotta be able to match that pressure on water. SilverPython already with 2 fast fires, or regular fire ships I should say, on the map. And 4 more in queues. Got the advantage there. And it's again galleys for the wimpy fish. We saw this last game as well, where they opted for galleys. And it didn't go very well then, but let's see if they end up being more fortunate in this one. Oh, interesting. SilverPython saying they just barely missed the dock here, scouting around the edge. Yeah, they did, but I mean, I guess they were expecting their opponent to go for a back dock and go into galleys as the mines in this one, and thus maybe not looking as closely on the front. But yeah, I wonder why are we not scouting the front? I feel like it would be very valuable information, scouting the front first of all. But actually that's going to be the last part of the opponent's island that SilverPython is actually going to take a look at. My bad, he says. I mean, it's fine, I guess, but that means wimpy fish are able to build up galleys for quite a bit longer than they should be, and for some reason also not even garrisoning them in the docks. That's curious, because you see it right there, finally SilverPython able to spot the opponent. Doesn't know how many docks there are just yet. Spots the first one, no flag on top, and that's the galleys popping out here. Front dock galleys out of 2 opponents' docks is what SilverPython is thinking right now. Not knowing there's a third one there already. Now spotting that on the way over from the west. So triple dock galleys it is for the opponent. And let's see SilverPython scrambling to assemble those fire ships here. Loses another one there, so that's gonna mean building up ships for a while longer before being able to contest this one, and there was some crucial time there given to wimpy fish for building up those galleys, and can't stop now. You gotta press that and get that mass high enough where you can take out those fires once they start trying to push you. Alright, market being dropped. Wimpy fish is steadily approaching feudal age, although the food eco is kind of dwindling a bit. Forward come the fire ships, but decent kiting here for now. Takes out one of them without taking too much damage for themselves, and maybe a repair villager could be really good for wimpy fish here, but it looks even without that, this is a gorgeous trade for the Mayans, doing a good job hitting and running. The wraparound to cut the way off wasn't successful, and that's lots of losses here for SilverPython, at least able to trade one back here and another one. So okay, could have gone definitely much worse. At least was able to get up to Castle Age a little bit quicker than the Mayans nonetheless. But it's not as easy of a water victory as you might have anticipated after the early feudal age timing for the Italian player. And having to deal with a ball of galleys now, certainly not going to be very easy. I wonder if SilverPython expects to be early or late to Castle Age in relation to their opponent. Yeah, I gotta feel like maybe this isn't the best chase to go on, and at least if you were able to chase those galleys away and harassing the fishing economy in the meantime, that would be decent. But this is basically losing a lot of fire ships for very little damage in return. And here we see the reinforcements come in, but not a lot of damage was done here overall. So wimpy fish on their home map putting up here. I like to see it. The series is getting a bit more competitive here. Horse color coming in as well. Castle Age 1 minute to go, whereas SilverPython is already up, but sadly doesn't have a lot of ships to upgrade right now. Let's see how they end up playing this. In comes the War Galley upgrade, and a further investment into fire ships seems to be the plan for now. And repair village is finally coming in for the Mayans too. That's a good choice, certainly. Needs that upgrade as well though. But with 14 galleys, that's going to be well worth the cost. Although I do prefer my galleys being small and maneuverable. The bigger ones the war galleys then way more clunky to move with. But hey, you'll take that for the stat boost that you get off of that. Let's see if Python is going to be able to hit that timing. 45 seconds now for Wimpyfish without the upgrade, and enemy fire ships here on the other side. Gonna be a formidable opponent. Python finding the engagement here and taking out a few galleys before that upgrade is actually able to come through. And let's see how many of them are going to fall. Just one for now, I think, and still hitting and running is Wimpyfish with Botkin Arrow already researched. There is decent damage here, but don't want to lose those ships before the upgrade is there, and there we go. I think there's going to be a much easier trade to take at this point. That's again lots of fire ships going down. Oh boy, there we see Wimpyfish making good use of this galley mass, or war galley mass I should say. And man, this early game has gone quite okay for the Mayans, behind by 3 villages, or eco units rather, but could definitely have gone worse. So lots of war galleys actually here in the field, and no landing yet either for SilverPython, so no shenanigans there on land to worry about. Eco pretty much even. Let's actually check the resources collected here and see how these guys match up against each other. Virtually the same here, a couple of hundred in advantage actually for the Italians, so at least there's some sort of a lead here. But now having to deal with those enemy war galleys might be problematic in the end. Actually looping around on the back is Wimpyfish. Wonder if he's maybe looking for a back fishing economy that the opponent could be trying to build up. Instead we now have SilverPython on the front, or switching into galleys themselves. Botkin Arrow about to come through too. So at least they are given some time now to build up fleet themselves, while Wimpyfish tries to loop around in the back and see if there's anything to take out there. That's a lot of time that will end up going to waste. Of course, could have been a big success if any eco was found and trapped there. Meanwhile, fishing ships actually starting to go down in the front. Certainly unfortunate there for SilverPython, but I like the fact that they're hiding those war galleys and actually opening up with the fire ships, forcing the enemy galleys back. Don't think Wimpyfish is just yet aware of how of that tech switch that has come in, and SilverPython trying to catch them off guard with that. Wimpyfish in the meantime seems to have halted the war galley production, and maybe that will give SilverPython an opening to get back into this on the water. Mayans on their second TC already. Second one for Italians just having gone up. So the eco is going to remain close, I expect, between these two guys. First galleys here. It's still 19 of them, so nothing to scoff at. But in the meantime, in the time that it took the Mayans to fully circumnavigate the opponent's island there, Italians were actually able to get out 11 war galleys of their own, in addition to the still existent 8 fire ships. If they are able to ever trap those Italian war galleys, or those Mayan war galleys, this could be a full and complete rout by the Mayans, or by the Italians, excuse me. We see Wimpyfish now queuing some more war galleys again, realizing that the opponent has in fact not given up water just yet. Maybe having speculated a bit too much there. And that's a few of those war galleys already going down. Not what you like to see if you're rooting for the underdog here. Oh, it's a rough look here. Those galleys still kind of separated over off to the side, and I don't know. You're gonna need to find an advantage somehow. The eco is not going to yield you one by itself. Lots of stone in store for the mines, and the castle is going to be the attempt at securing water control long term, I assume. Although I'm not sure this is going to be the best location for it. Yeah, I get spotted out, and that's a lot of damage done by those enemy galleys. The castle foundation is of course not going to be able to be denied. However, the villagers might suffer here. And this is a costly castle. I'm not sure it really needs to be this close to the coast, and ends up abandoning the castle. Oh, it's not what you love to see here for sure for the Mayans. We see the galley war now fully breaking out. It's almost even numbers on both sides, and it looks like the micro for Wimpyfish has been better so far, but lots of low HP ones on their side, and neither side has enough galleys there to actually one-shot a ship of the other fleet, so it's really an interesting battle there. But it looks like Wimpyfish just barely able to force up that castle, and Python having to withdraw. So alright, a decently sized victory there for the Mayans, able to get that castle up, and also on 2 town centers, 60 villages, economy looking okay-ish. Could go up to Imp if they wanted to pretty soon, but of course it might be a better idea to invest a little bit more into eco first. On the other side, the Italians, no stone at all, having gone for that triple TC now. Maybe that's going to be their angle, out booming the opponent there. And Imp is actually on the way for the Mayans. I didn't think that was going to be the choice just yet, but I wonder why. How are we going to push once we reach Imp? There's nothing to trap down, really. I mean, I guess we could just try and land eagles on the opponent's islands, and that would be absolutely devastating if we were able to do that. But no cannon galleons, so I'll be looking intently to see how they are going to play this. Losing the dock villagers here on the front. Looks like they definitely wanted to get up a few more docks, so game plan seems to be trying to go more underwater still. Not sure why we're not putting up the docks underneath our castle, by the way. I thought though that was what coastal castles were for, actually. Man. Interesting. Early Imp can be scary is what Phantom is saying. Again, but I'm not sure what we're doing with this Imp here, if we're the Mayans. I want to see what they're actually doing. I mean, getting Galleon, I guess, is the obvious play. Let's see if that's going to be good enough, because we're giving up a lot of, well, I wouldn't say map pressure, but we're giving our docks up here, and now we're putting up the docks underneath the castle. I think that was the better idea there originally. Yet more galleys coming out for Italians, but not on their way yet to Castle H, not having the buildings even, so it's, or to Imp, I should say. So it's going to be a big difference there in timing. It's a lot of war galleys though that Python has at his disposal, and it's got to be a bit intimidating there for the Mayans. They definitely need a few more galleons than 8, I believe, in order to be able to take out a fleet of 36. Imp timing is in, and we got careening, got fast fire for Wimpyfish. Alright, that's going to be an interesting one. Having lost 2 docks up in the north, there's still 1 remaining at least, I guess, so yeah, could produce out of that one. Is not, oh yeah, he is doing that, never mind. Fast fire, the plan for now it seems. Upgrade has come in. Still war galleys though, and yeah, Python's still pushing a bit there with those ships, working away at yet another dock from the Italians, and the fast fires are giving them trouble here. Look at this. Oh man, those galleys are being molten through by those fast fires. That's one of my favorite units in the game, and you can see why. There's really no contest here in the water right now. The armor is just super crazy on those ships. Look at this, they're getting completely pummeled here. The Italians are, and that is not the trade they were hoping for here, as the opponent has already reached Imp, and that's gonna be 15, 20, however many ships going down. Look at the kills on the fast fires alone, which is 18. Couple that with 12 more from the back line. Complete and utter rout on water here. This is some proper naval warfare here. Nelson would certainly be proud, as Mayans are taking out the Italians here decidedly. Well, I didn't know fast fires were that OP, but 40 galleys were not able to make a dent in that front line one bit. The demo ships now trying to find some damage back, but that was a big loss here at the start of the Imperial Age for SilverPython. Now trying to get a lot more docks up and also approaching Imp with quite a bit better economy, but now lots more army in the field for the opponent actually. That might make it difficult rather. No castle as well for the Italians. They have got the stone now, so could start thinking about a castle drop somewhere in order to protect the docks. Let's see where that's gonna be put. It's a stressful time right now though, so I can understand why that's not currently being built. Oh boy, look at that. We've got fire against fast fire, and at least that trade is a bit better for SilverPython than the previous ones, but look at how tanky those fire ships still are. Able to get some damage back, although Python's certainly going to be happy having taken out 2 of those. Imp now in for them as well. It's still a 2 versus 4 town center game actually, but 1,000 stone floating for the Italians. I think really late on that castle. The castle could serve them really well here. Could go a real long way in trying to re-establish naval control. And instead, there's still fighting going on here in the south, but it's not going to be beneficial. And Wimpyfish might just push back on this map and even out the series here if that push can continue. There's still an eco disadvantage though, as Dry Dock comes in as well. So it's not like he's got this one in the bag just yet. Castle trying to be put up behind the docks here. Let's see if this one will go up. As we've got the fast fires now out for SilverPython as well. And a 5 versus 4 trade not likely to go very well. I would like to see them maybe pull back the low HP ones once they drop low. That can be very helpful in small number fights like this one. But at least that castle is going to go up for the Italians, and maybe that's going to be the basis for pushing back here. Actually, a sneaky castle in the east as well on the opponent's island. Really good spot here, controlling some sort of a choke point. But that one is now being spotted out by Wimpyfish. Oh, that's going to be awkward, moving those villages back a tad. It's going to be, yeah, it's going to be able to be put up, and real good job following up as well with the own fast fire ships. It's going to make it possible to, well, stall for the villagers a bit, although the attempt at walling the villagers in was a bit chaotic here. It worked out in the end, but, alright, yeah, you're really losing a lot of HP on this castle already. And Wimpyfish should start producing some trebuchets. Is not doing that though. I think that's a big miss here. You gotta queue up traps if you see your opponent queuing up this castle here. I feel like that. Maybe I'm missing something, but just, yeah, now the traps come out. Alright. Bit of a late response there. Maybe Wimpyfish also wasn't too sure if they were able to deny that castle or not. Ends up now having to deal with that on his own very island. So, small victories again for SilverPython here. Able to build up a navy again at home, and trading somewhat efficiently on offense and getting that castle up. Oh. Yeah, I gotta say, Mayans, that is their issue. They are really behind on eco here. An eagle push really is what would end this game, but there's no eco to support this one just yet. And the Italians are putting on the pressure now on their island. That is what I was scared of earlier. With the better economy and still lots of stone in the bank here. Wow, SilverPython, I thought they would just force up those 2 castles and let it be, but still heavily on stone. I'm not even sure where that is. But mining a lot of that still. And possibly going to try and castle the neutral islands as well. Or just castle forward on the opponent's land. So either way, it seems to be more castles that SilverPython has in mind. Getting the infantry upgrades now. And here with, look at these cool eyes here. Looking a little bit like Huskarls even. Condottiero do. And trying to get some raiding going. Mines now finally putting up some military production buildings on land as well. Lots of trebuchets already having come out. And is he just going to send them forward as they are? No protection at all. That is quite daring, and so close to the coast as well. Luckily the navy is there to protect them. It's a big naval engagement here. You can't really tell, but it looks really good for Wimpyfish for the time being. Although SilverPython there with a lot of ships that are just kind of weaving around here and not hitting. It probably cost them quite a bit in this one. I can't really tell again who's coming out on top here. But it feels like Wimpyfish just barely might have the edge here. It's a difficult one. It looks like he's cleaning up finally. Trebuchets also able to take out that castle, it seems. There he goes. Okay, he's gonna love the trade he's just taken there. Losing those traps is gonna be fine, but that castle is gone, and also a big part of the opponent's navy just has sunk on your coast. So even a transport ship now there for the mines. Is he actually going to try for a counter? I don't think he's in a position to do that. Getting raided at home still by those condottiero, and still yet to have cleaned up all of them. They are very susceptible to archer fire, as we see right there. The upgrades really aren't there for SilverPython, but as they start coming in, this might be a concern going forward for wimpyfish, who might have won the naval engagement, but still has to deal with those enemy production buildings on his islands, and this is a bit... come on. It is a bit offensive here. Even dropping the castle in the exact same spot, you're just doing it to them a bit too hard there. Going to put that one right back up. The crossbows trading really efficiently though into the enemy condottiero. I still would like to see a wall go up from the Mayans. Remember that bonus for cheaper walls could go a long way in trying to keep the condottiero out. And the crossbowmen behind those walls would be super good at defending, so would definitely like to see that, if possible. So far, wimpyfish cannot be bothered though to wall, no ballistics yet either, and thus having some trouble cleaning up those enemy units. A third castle coming out now for SilverPython on the neutral island, as projected. And he's taking map control here firmly into his own hand. Gonna struggle cleaning up those crossbows though coming forward. No siege or anything. Might be difficult keeping that forward alive here for a very long time. There's actually no more traps yet for the Mayans. Only now are they queuing up new ones. I feel like also a bit of a missed opportunity here pushing forward with those crossbows. Would have been pretty cool to have some trebuchets supporting that. But losing out on this map control here, giving up the neutral islands. I feel like SilverPython's in a fine spot here. Finally, both these guys have kind of maxed out in terms of eco. And villager production seems to be in a type of sweet spot here for those two guys. And yeah, the castle's really coming in clutch here, as you can see, enabling Python to even still take some positive trades despite having a much smaller navy in comparison. wimpyfish still trying to push forward here, finally having brought another threat. Second one actually coming forward. Okay, so he's working on this one. Still lots of stone here in the bank for their opponent, and deciding to now try and castle drop another island maybe is wimpyfish, but doesn't have the stone for it actually. So another awkward little timing here, as trebuchet being unpacked actually here on the neutral island, trying to take out the opponent's traps on land. Let's see how that's gonna go for SilverPython. I'm not sure. Actually, not having the naval control here might be a bit of an issue. If those fire ships come in and start attacking the enemy trebuchets as well, could be an issue. No castle to drop here on the neutral island certainly does hurt a little bit. And another landing has come through there from the Mayans. That is scary, or from the Italians rather. Jeez, I'll get those two mixed up all day, aren't I? Looks like actually just only with trebuchets Python able to stall out this Mayan push. No response for the crossbowmen, but he doesn't need to, I guess, if the trebuchets are here. And actually manages to keep the siege away. Pretty nicely done. Building up another forward here in the west that I don't think wimpyfish is privy to just yet. Oh, look at this. They have no idea. They haven't even spotted any of those buildings yet. Now could potentially see the stable go up. Let's see if there's going to be a reaction. Looks like a lot of crossbowmen were sacrificed here trying to take out the enemy trebuchets. And just as I said, with the navy diving in on the castle, was also able to take out those trebuchets. But that was a bit late of a reaction there for my liking. Lots of stables planted there on the enemy island, and that's going to be Lycaf. This could be a game-ending type push here. wimpyfish really got to start paying attention on the western side. because this is the last game of this series. If he loses, he needs this victory in order to extend his tournament life. Not able to push on the east here, and in the west there's going to be a whole new threat storming in. That's going to be, what, 8 stables? 8 stables out for SilverPython, queuing Lightcap in all of them. He's merciless with it. And this seems to be a flood that I don't think the Mayans are currently equipped to handle. That just those handful of crossbowmen I don't think are going to be able to withstand the Lightcap. A castle is attempted to be put up as the answer here. I'm not sure that's going to do the job. Oh man, we're really approaching the deciding phase of the game. And Lightcap working away at those enemy villagers. The castle is going to go up at least, but a counter castle also dropped forward. I think these trebuchet wars here might be very consequential too. Still lots of villagers dying here. It's a rough look again as the eco is getting hit. All these idle villagers and many of them going down. Oh, look at the townfolk wandering around looking for one of the few safe spaces here left in the village, but it looks real difficult right now. From all angles are the Italians approaching, and only obelisks there as a defense. I don't think are going to quite cut it, to be honest. Those Lycav, they don't have great upgrades just yet, but as we see SilverPython add some of those last few missing cavalry upgrades, it's starting to become very much doubtful whether or not Wimpyfish is going to be able to handle this one. No walls at all, I think, costing them quite a bit here. At least has succeeded in taking out the enemy castle in the east. Lots of villages coming on over actually. I wonder why. I wonder what those are looking for. What are we bringing these guys to do? I'm a bit confused on that front. Let's see if trebuchets start coming out in the west though. These two castles there across from each other. Nobody producing traps in any of them just yet. But ooh, Wimpyfish hasn't noticed, I don't think. Starts noticing now, but that castle for SilverPython is going up if he wants to force it to. Oh, he's going to try and wall out the enemy villagers. I'm not sure that's going to be sufficient, but actually he's doing a good enough job with the distractions and also that this castle is going to complete. And that's another fire that Wimpyfish is going to have to put out, and he's going to lose that gold income from the neutral island. Was that his last gold? I think it might have been, actually. Doesn't look like there's any gold to be mined left at home. And that's crucial for the Mayans to be completely pushed off of gold now. Oh, that surely has got to be a game-deciding move. Oh, man. So sad for Wimpyfish, who held on for such long. Did a great job, actually, on water. But really on land in the end there with the landings, the well-placed castles. Looks like SilverPython has just done it there. Able to start cleaning up the enemy trebuchets as well. And remember, those are irreplaceable with the Mayans not having any gold left on their island. Oh, those stables still pumping out Lycav here. And even a trebuchet being built now by Python that's going to start pushing in from the west again. Large number of obelisks here. They are cheap and all. Being loaded up now. I feel like he's just going to try and land them on the opponent's island to get some eco damage done on the flip side. I don't know about this, mate. I don't think that's gonna work out at this point. The entire eco here on Wimpyfish's home island is being raided. Trebuchets going down, villagers dying, and surely this has got to be it, doesn't it? He's still got a huge army left, right? 70 obelisks, that's great and all, but the opponent has the resources at this point. It's just the issue. Middle island here especially with all the leftover gold should be enough for SilverPython to close this one out. Still a few trebuchets left in the east for Wimpyfish, but he's not even pulling them back. Doesn't look like he's too interested in those, and actually with villagers now fighting to try and take out the enemy Hussar, who are very tanky. Finally the trap war has begun here, and really think Wimpyfish should have pulled over those trebuchets a bit earlier. Maybe could have gotten a good head start there with the trebuchets, but as it stands I don't think it's going to be enough to take out the castle. Lycav should be able to take out that trebuchet, right? Oh, I thought so, but he's not sending them in just yet. Maybe distracted at other places. All the Arbalests in the east, though. And man, actually it is gonna be Wimpyfish that wins this Trebuchet war and takes out that enemy castle. Late reaction there by SilverPython. Having distracted the Arbalests would have been such a good opportunity, but even if he loses the castle, which he now does, as long as he keeps his Trebuchet alive, he's gonna get the enemy castle to fall. And that's gonna be it then, surely. I mean, surely. Even on the top side here in the north, the castle is starting to go down. The Arbalest raid on the opponent's island, that's the last-ditch effort for Wimpyfish to make some damage on the opponent's island. Let's see how much he can get done with this. But the castle going up, I think, is everything, honestly, the SilverPython needs. Can just spam skirmishes at this point, and I think would be fine here. Trebuchet is, though, giving him some real trouble. Let's see if this Hail Mary push can do anything for Wimpyfish, who has lost virtually everything on his own island there. And all he's got is Arbalests against the world here. There we see the archery ranges. Skirmish attacks, which hasn't really happened for the Italians, but on offense they very much are successful. 30 Arbalests, that's not even that many. Should easily be able to build up enough skirmishes to deal with that. You do need the upgrades, though. I feel like you should do the homework first, get that archer padding, and get that get the elite skirmisher upgrade before actually engaging that. But then you should be fine. I don't think in the long run Wimpyfish got enough here. 25 villages, and as soon as the Arbalests go down, that's gonna be it then. Man, what a chaotic game this island's here. But pretty high quality, honestly. I can't lie. The decisions made here, in terms of water play as well, pretty good for a Bracket H game. And these guys making us proud here in the lower elos. And Wimpyfish here did great in round 1 as well, of course, but just looks like SilverPython too good on the day. And with the skirmishers is going to start pushing back against those Arbalests, surely. Although the town center is actually going down there, so, I mean, fair play. That push was really good there. Maybe just a bit too late there. Maybe could have actually made a real difference had he tried that earlier. It's hard to tell, but because skirmishers were still always going to be a problem there if they had come out. And there's enough resources there for Python to recover from this. Same cannot be said for Wimpyfish with his 16 villages and total loss of map control here. So I wonder how much longer he's willing to go with this one. I guess maybe he's just gonna force the opponent to clean up the Arbalests before he actually throws in the towel. There he goes, though. Alright. Fair play. He really tried his best here, Wimpyfish. Also, again, in the previous game, pretty impressive hold there for quite a long time. Was nicely done, but yeah, this guy didn't win his first round matchup for nothing, but was in the end outmatched on the day by SilverPython, who as the second seed is able to move on to the semi-finals of Bracket H. So congrats to you in chat as well. Alright, SilverPython says, didn't feel like he was ahead when he got into Imp, I assume he means. Alright. Man, I gotta say, it was an impressive game. In terms of score, it was really even at the end, too. But man, that was well done. And a closer series than it maybe looked, but solid gameplay by SilverPython all around. And Wimpyfish, maybe with just one or two different decisions, could have made this series go the other way as well, possibly. So congrats to Python for moving on, and we'll see him in the semi-finals. That's going to be it for this series. I'm going to cast another series right away. So I'll end the stream and put it up 5 seconds after, going to go live with another series from group I don't know. We'll see then. So catch me again in another second. And for the YouTube guys, thanks for joining me. Check out the rest of the playlist and this event Discord server in the description as well.